Does it seem simple? It's actually not as simple as it looks. And in this video, I'm going to show you what problems I ran into while attempting to draw this, and how I overcame them. And hopefully you can learn something from this documentary. In one of my earlier videos, I mentioned some tips on ways you can improve your drawing, and one of them was to pick something difficult and try to draw it. I decided to have a go at drawing the Lamborghini Aventador. Now, I know it looks easy, but that's actually quite deceptive because to get this drawing right, or somewhat right, the curves and proportion have to be done quite precisely. It took me 3 attempts to get this right, and even then the end result wasn't perfect. There are some minor proportion issues, but the drawing turned out okay looking in the end. So what was so bad about the first 2 attempts that I had to make a 3rd attempt? And what did I change to improve the final drawing? Keep watching to find out.
drawtechnic.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Welcome to my first attempt. Here I sectioned the page into 3 because I wanted to draw the front, the back, and the corner view of the Aventador to create like a product design presentation sheet. I start with the main corner view of the Aventador. By looking at an existing picture, I separated each part of the Aventador, sectioning it into shapes in my mind. My intention was to use the shapes to guide my pencil strokes in the right direction, as I add more detail later on in the drawing. So as you can see, I'm carefully trying to form each shape within the bottom section of the paper. This constraint was quite limiting, and I think it contributed towards the failure of my first attempt. The main problems found in my first attempt were the proportions. The Lambo I drew looked way too squashed up when I took a step back to look at it. I didn't understand. I mean, I made the shapes generally quite accurate, so that should have been enough to guide my pencil marks. However, after messing up the second attempt in the same way, I realized what was wrong. I was drawing on the paper on a flat desk. Well, this meant that I had an unclear perspective because my line of sight was about a 45-degree angle from the paper. So if I look at the paper at a 45-degree angle, the drawing would look right, but as soon as I would lift it from the table to bring it to face-on level, it would distort, being a bit too squashed on the page. I needed an easel. So I got out my tools and some wood, and decided to make my own easel for the job. I cut and joined the wood to make the easel angled at a 75-degree rotation from the flat surface. Meaning that if the board stands up facing towards you at a flat 90 degrees, imagine it pushed back in rotation by 15 degrees. Well, you don't actually have to imagine it though, because I'm about to show you the finished easel. My CAD technician experience in structural design came in handy for this work. But for all the technical people out there who may have noticed, I haven't braced the upper side of the board to the back of the support because it felt sturdy and strong enough already. I'm intending to draw and sketch on it, not sit on it, so it works. Lesson of the day. You don't have to buy fancy stuff, just make it yourself because it becomes unique to your channel. See, no one else in the world has this exact easel which I just made. And who knows, I might turn it into a thing one day where I write the best commenter's name on the board. Anyway, back to drawing. So now I make a 3rd attempt at drawing a Lamborghini Aventador on this new easel. My perspective problem should be fixed. Alright, now, you can call me a freak, but when I draw construction lines, I feel as if I'm meeting someone new, and I'm getting to know them. And the more I draw, the more I am trying to establish a relationship with the drawing. One critical thing about drawing construction lines is that it offers you the chance to explore and map out possible pencil paths. If you don't take your time to ensure that the shape, proportion, and perspective are right, you're gonna end up with a misshapen creation. Though I'm generally happy with the end result of what I drew, I still noticed a few proportion errors. Perhaps they appeared because of my 3rd time in having to draw this, and I felt the desire to rush the construction lines. After doing the lighter strokes of construction lines, I now go in to darken some of the lines while clearing up any missed issues. Lastly, I tackle the wheels, adding some details. Now the wheels look quite difficult, and they were almost enough to put me off, but I'm making a video, so I have to press on with them. There was a moment where I was drawing the wheels in particular, and I was just drawing them, however, and I stopped myself to think that Why am I drawing these wheels so hastily? Am I hesitating because it looks difficult? Did I even take more than a second to look at them properly? I felt that I was avoiding trying to focus on them because they looked annoyingly hard to draw. And I do architectural detail drawings. What could be more off-putting than that? So, I took a minute or two to focus hard on the wheels, to try to understand what shapes I used and why. When I take my eyes off the wheels, I want to be able to have created the picture inside my mind of how the wheel is made up. I want to be able to draw the wheels, having understood how they are designed, so that I don't have to look back at the picture repeatedly. After sketching the first wheel however way I could, I shortly moved on to the second one, and this time I started to realize a pattern. The spokes on the wheels were not just 10 separate spokes. They were 5 sets of 2 spokes each. After realizing this, I had a bit of an easier time drawing the wheels. In fact, at some point I didn't even need to look back at the photo to verify that what I was drawing was right, because I understood how it's supposed to look now. That's thanks to just taking a minute to focus on something that looks difficult. I actually think I could draw the wheels again, from scratch, and know how they're supposed to be drawn. Okay, now with the wheels done, the construction lines are ready. So I take my more focused mechanical pencil and go over the construction lines with a more defined pencil mark. I go over the whole drawing to sharpen it up. And once that's done, I then take my 0.5mm fine line pen and go over the whole drawing once again. While doing that, I use the same pen to color in the darker and shadowy parts of the car along the way. This took a while, obviously, because I was doing it with a fine liner. While watching this, I actually remember now that I have a brush pen which it could have done the job in seconds. Damn it. Well, anyway, once I eventually do get the dark parts defined, I turn to using a thin biro pen that I found laying around to attempt to blend the darkness of the shadows with the lighter parts of the car. You can see that I'm trying to fill in the grille and hear whooshu. You like my little camera trick there? Yeah, I thought of that one. It was me. So yeah, I'm just going through the drawing, filling out the dark parts and refining any lines that need a touch-up. Now, after having understood the wheels a bit more, I'm able to take the fine line pen and define the designated dark spots. This makes the drawing of the wheel look a bit better by giving it some depth. Then, once again, I use the biro to shade some lighter dark parts of the wheel, to define the brake wheel or whatever it's called. It's a brake disc, that's it. I don't know about you, but I think I drew it well enough to make out that it's a brake disc or something of the sort. Anyway, the point is that it sits behind the rim spokes, and you can tell that in the drawing. Well, I can. After doing that, I go ahead and continue using the biro to shade in the wheels. I like using the biro to shade better than the pencil because I feel like you can control light and dark better with it. A pencil tends to have the same shade throughout, as you will see with the windscreen shading. Well, at this point I continue shading in, going over outlines and giving every part a general touch-up, while adding some more details to the drawing. Now, there are some proportion issues in this drawing, but overall I think it turned out quite well. Next time I'd be more careful with the construction lines. Maybe now that I have an easel, I can probably do a better job on the first go. I'm going to be coloring this drawing on Photoshop in an upcoming video, so if you don't want to miss that, then make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. And if you have any suggestions on what you want to see me draw next, then let me know in the comment section. Thanks for watching.